Hello guys! On the channel we often discuss behavior of the Kremlin, but we rarely focus on the reactions of the population of Russia, which is also responsible for war in Ukraine and lots of war crimes. And even now, when war has returned back home to Russia and lots of settlements in Kursk region are under the control of Ukraine, Russian military objects explode literally in every corner of the Russian Federation, we do not see any reaction. And here is the question: is Russia hiding this reaction, or actually there is none? Yesterday, Putin's favorite propagandist Solovyov even spoke about the need to fire the head. We don't know whom he meant. Was it Putin? Was it Gerasimov? Was it Belousov? But he was the one expressing dissatisfaction on the official Russian TV channel. So what is happening inside the Russian population, and can we actually expect any kind of reaction from their side? My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and I'm very proud that our society is extremely active in every important aspect of its life, starting from the defense of our borders and finishing with, I don't know, planting trees in school yards. Subscribe to see Russia defeated and share the videos on your social media platforms. So I know many of you are good people and constantly expect that at a certain moment of time, after some specific war crimes or a new wave of mobilization, Russian population will start reacting, organizing some specific movements. Honestly, observing Russia for decades, being unfortunately Russia's neighbor, I don't have such expectations. The only reason coming from people that can actually stop Russian war is the lack of people in general. Let's have a look at the special military operation of the Ukrainian armed forces to Kursk region, which definitely humiliated Putin and those who believed in the invincibility of Russia and demonstrated how vulnerable Russian borders are. Actually, this crazy propagandist Solovyov was talking about these borders that are totally collapsing under the pressure from Ukraine, and also the failure with the test of the Sarmat missile. Sarmat was described as an intercontinental missile capable of killing everyone in the world, but literally 5 tests failed, and it looks like if Sarmat can cause any harm, it is to Russia. So propagandists are dissatisfied. Perhaps it's really difficult for them to work in such conditions and to persuade that everything goes according to the plan, together with the Ukrainian troops marching deeper inside the Russian Federation. But let's have a look at the population. First of all, there is a great difference between those that are now under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces and those who still observe what is happening, or even the country try to hide from what is happening now on their own territory. So the Kursk population actually helps Ukrainian armed forces. They often describe the positions of Chechen soldiers who treat Russians very bad, and they actually cooperate willingly, and I see that they see that Ukrainians follow the rules of war, protect civilian population, and actually care about the survival of them more than Russians, who applied scorch as policy even to their own Suja. So these people are totally impressed, first of all, with the humane approach of Ukrainian army, and second, with the irresponsibility and total absence of care or strategy from the Russian side. And you know, more and more often they start saying like, okay, it doesn't matter who controls the territory as long as everything is fine. So they gave up really quickly. You do not see serious movements, any territorial defense organized to protect or fight back. People simply either flee or pretend nothing happened, just a flag changed on the city council. I cannot imagine similar behavior in Ukraine, when literally unarmed people went out on the streets to stop Russian tanks. You can clearly see that on the videos, especially from the first days of invasion. Subscribe to see Ukraine liberated and potentially Russia liberated, because believe me, that population is in a very, very pathetic, miserable state at the moment. And that's why literally they cannot create any protest, any serious movement. What is worse for me personally is those Russians who fled the war, who express sympathy to Ukrainians and pretend to be democracy-loving people in your own countries, as like refugees, political refugees, when in reality the majority of them simply escaped Russian mobilization. But what surprises me is that you cannot see any political or at least social civil movements organized by these Russians in France, in Germany, in Poland, in Georgia, to fight for democracy in the world, to fight for democracy in Russia. There is no plan B organized by real Russian opposition. What happens when Putin is finally caught, when he is imprisoned, when Kremlin collapses? Who comes to substitute them? Nothing. These people are not uniting even on the safe territories of your countries, where actually they are very far away from the reach of FSB, KGB, and believe me, with ordinary people, they would not send special agents to poison them. They are not uniting, they are not organizing, and that's what we see also on the territory of all the Russian Federation. These people were severely depoliticized. They have something in their mindset that makes them delegate all the powers to a dictator that they love. They love dictators. Another trouble with Russia, those who hope that after the collapse of Kremlin, they will start developing democratic institutions. No, they don't know what that is. It is our task to actually come there later and introduce them at least to the basics of democracy, because I cannot think of any period in Russian history when they lived according to something like democracy. On contrary, they love nurturing dictators, and that's the threat that Russia imposes on all the world for hundreds of years. Their favorite leaders are Tsar Ivan Grozny, who killed his son, Stalin, who killed millions, first during Stalin's terror, then during the Second World War, organizing these mid waves. Also, Putin now. These people either are in that bad state, or I don't know, but they are not capable of building society, taking responsibility for their streets, their houses, then their cities, and then maybe one day in 100 years, their country. So this absence of Russian reaction, no protests, no fear, no anger, no hatred, just like they pretend nothing is happening. Only a part of Russia is under control of Ukraine. Ukraine that they have described as non-existent and as totally defeated. And that's insane. And this is another proof we cannot hope for any movement, anti-war movement, serious problem coming from inside Russian society for Putin, and it is our task to defeat them. Let me know, have you come across any real reaction of the Russian people to the Kursk special military operation, or I don't know, other troubles that become very visible as Russian oil refineries burn, or their Sarmat intercontinental missiles explode inside Russia? Russia can actually be the country that will nuke Russia. I don't know, does Putin include this in his new nuclear doctrine? What happens if Russia nukes Russia? Because this seems the most realistic scenario if they keep testing Sarmat missiles. Thank you so much for your support and understanding. Subscribe if you're new. We have a beautiful community of people who respect human life and freedom on the channel. Share these videos if you consider them important. I hope so, on your social media platforms. Join me on Instagram, X, Threads, Discord, and also check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. But most importantly, thank you for being friends with Ukraine, and thank you for fighting with us together against all of these disrespectful, authoritarian enemies. Slava Ukraini!